Students, in our previous video, we have already discussed about while loop. Now our second loop is for loop. As we know, loop control statements are used to repeat set of instructions, and we have already seen how while loop works in C. Now in today's video we will talk about for loop, and we will try to solve an example, or we will try to solve a problem using for loop. As you know, a loop always have three things: initialization, condition, and increment or decrement. In for loop, all these three things are specified in a single line. You can clearly see from this syntax how we write for loop. We first of all write the keyword for, then within the brackets initialization of the counter, then the condition check, then increment or decrement of the particular counter which we have initialized, and then comes the block of statements. How for loop works is like, first it will initialize a counter, then it will check for the condition. If the condition is met, it will enter the block. If it is not met, then it will exit the block. That means it will exit the for loop. If the condition is true, that means it is going to execute the statements which are within the block, and at the end of this block it will come back and will do increment or decrement of the counter which we have initialized. Then after the operation of increment or decrement, it will again check for the condition. If this condition is met, then the statements will be executed, and at the end of these statements again it will come to check to the increment or decrement. It will just increment or decrement the counter. After doing the increment or decrement of the counter, it will again check for the condition. If this condition is now not satisfied, or I will say like it is false, now it will come out of this loop. Now let us try to solve a particular problem using for loop. Say suppose for example we have a problem wherein we have to write a program that will display the multiplication table of a number entered by user. Say suppose our user has entered number 2, so it should give us a multiplication table, full multiplication table of 2. Like 2 multiplied by 1 is 2, 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, 2 multiplied by 3 is 6, likewise. So if a user has entered 3, so it should give us a complete table of 3. So in this kind of a problem, in this kind of a program, we can clearly say like there is some operation which we have to perform repeatedly. That means suppose in the first go we have to multiply. For example, I am taking an example as 2. That means first I have to take 2 multiplied by 1, that is equal to 2. Then again I have to perform the multiplication operation. In the next iteration I have to do 2 multiplied by 2, that will be equal to 4. Then in the next it is 2 multiplied by 3. That means I have to perform the multiplication operation repeatedly, but with the increment with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10, or whatever the limit you will give. So therefore that means in this kind of a problem I can make use of a loop, and now let's see how we can do it. First we will include the normal files, header files, then obviously our program starts with the main function, right? So first we will just declare certain variables of integer type. First we will take a variable, say suppose we will name it as num, first variable, which will take the number from the user whose table we want to display. Then say suppose next we will take variable limit. Say suppose for example a user wants to print or display the table of 2 from 1 to 10. So the table obviously will begin from 1 and it will stop at 2 multiplied by 10. That means the limit, that limit we are going to take in the variable limit. And then obviously a counter, which I have already told you that whenever we use loop, we have to take a counter which will control the loop. And then for that matter we are taking here I, and operation we have to do multiplication of two numbers. So say suppose we will take that result in another variable, we will take that variable as mul for the multiplication of two numbers. Okay, now we will print a message to user. We will ask a user to enter the multiplication table number. Now then, what next? We will scan that we have already declared variable num for that, so we are going to scan the number in that. Then of course we have to ask a user for limit, I mean up to what limit a user wants to print a table. So print the table of a particular number, right? So we want to ask a user limit, so we will ask user enter the limit. Fine. Now say suppose it is like, so we have already declared what we have declared variable limit for that. Okay, so we are gonna take limit in variable limit. Fine. Then next we have to write the logic for multiplication table. Now as we know, we have to do the multiplication as number multiplied by 1, then number multiplied by 2, number multiplied by 3, and it will move on up to the limit, right? And this multiplication we have already taken a variable mul, so we will first of all initialize this mul as 1, and then for to loop through this, like say suppose for example we have to loop through 1 up to the limit. So we have already declared the counter I for that, so we will initialize this I by 1 first, because in multiplication table we are starting this obviously from 1, and we will stop it up to the limit which the user has given us in the variable limit. So in a condition we are going to write here wherein I will be less or equal to limit, and then of course we have to increment or decrement it. Of course we have started it with 1, then obviously we are going to increment this counter. Okay, and this will increment it up to the limit, I mean it will come out of this loop once I will be equal to limit. Once I will be greater than limit, it will come out of the loop. Once I is equal to limit, it will execute the loop, and once it will be, you know, greater than limit, it will come out of this loop. So now what we have to, again and again we have to do the multiplication operation. So that means we have to multiply. See, we have a counter here I, wherein we are incrementing it by 1 every time we are incrementing it by 1. That means in the first go I will be equal to 1, in the next iteration I will be equal to 2, in the third it will be equal to 3. That means every time we have to do what? I multiplied by number. As we know, in our num contains the value of the table number for which we have to display the table. So we will do num multiplied by I. In the first go it will be, for example we have taken in num 2, so in the first go num multiplied by I here will be equal to in the first go 1, so we have to preserve that value somewhere, so we are gonna preserve that in num mul. It's another variable which we have declared, and already of course we have taken it as, you know, 1, we have just declared it here. Now we will, what we are going to do is we will do I multiplied by num. So in the first, I contains 1 and num contains 2. So suppose we have taken 2 in num. So in first iteration, 1 multiplied by 2 is equal to 2. That 2 will be stored in mul. Then we have to print it, right? We have to print it. Then again I will be incremented by 1. That means in the next iteration I will be equal to 2, and in num there will be same value, say suppose 2. So 2 multiplied by 2 is going to be 4, so that 4 is going to store in mul, and we are going to print it in next statement within this for loop. So that's what we will do in the next statement. How we are going to, we are just going to format it in the way we want to display it. So we will do it like that. In the way table is displayed, we will write it %d multiplied by, you know, %d is equal to, again that will be %d, and we will take it in the next line, then \n, then we will write here num, that's what we are given, %d num multiplied by I. That means next we have to take I, and then of course the result will be in mul. That's what is equal to %d. For that matter we have taken the mul variable. Then what we will do is we are going to close the for loop here. Okay, this completes our logic here for the table, and then this is our last line. Now what we will do is we will save it first, and just we will give it a name, anything we can give, like multiple. Okay, we will keep it short. So now we are going to compile it. So we are getting 0 errors, 0 warnings, and we will run it. Okay, enter the multiplication table number. Say suppose we have to display the multiplication table of 3. Okay, now it will ask us for the limit. Say suppose we want to get the multiplication table of 3 up to 10. So obviously it will start from 1, because we have initialized the counter I from 1 and its limit is up to 10. So it's giving us the full multiplication table of 3, like 3 multiplied by 1 is equal to 3, 3 multiplied by 2 6, 3 3 9, and then up to what, up to 30. So how is it doing? It is again and again doing the multiplication operation, but what we have done, we have used a for loop for this. Basically what we have done is, like, we have just written 2 statements within this, right? And we have just kept these statements inside the loop, and again it is a loop which is actually doing these operations, executing these 2 statements again and again. So as I told you previously, that first thing in the for loop is it will initialize the variable, the counter. I will say here I is equal to 1. In the first go it will first initialize this counter. Okay, then what it will do, it will then check in the first iteration. First it will initialize this. The initialization takes place in first iteration, then onwards it will not go to this part, the initialization part. Then onwards it will only go to the increment part, and it will check for the condition. These two things are to be done in the next iterations, but in the first go it will initialize, right? Then it will not move on to the initialization statement or the initialization part, this part. So next it is going to, first it will initialize. In the first I will be equal to 1, then in the next it will just check for the limit. It will check for the condition, whether the condition is met. If it is met, it will enter the loop. When it will enter the loop, it will execute all the statements which are inside the loop. Once it will execute these statements, it will move back and will increment. Then it will what? Increment the loop. It will increment the counter. After doing the increment operation, what it will do is it will check for the condition again. After checking the condition, if that condition is met, it will again enter the loop. After, executing the statements, it will just move back and again increment the counter variable. After doing the increment, again it will check for the conditions. When its condition will be false, it will come out of the loop and will execute all the statements which are outside the loop. So this is how for loop works. So in our next video we will talk about the do while loop. Thank you for watching today's video.